everyone, my name is Nicole Wolf and I'm a paranormal romance author. Welcome back to my channel. So if you've read the title, you're gonna know that today I wanted to talk a little bit about alpha readers. Some of you may have heard that term already, some of you may not have. So we're going to talk about what they are and what they do and do you need them? So first off, what is an alpha reader? An alpha reader is basically a person that you give your manuscript to after, like, as you're writing it or after your first draft. Like, you have made no, like, real revisions. Like, this doesn't count if you're the type of writer that kind of writes a chapter and then edits that chapter before they move on to the next chapter. It's pretty much, if you're still working on writing your first draft, however you do that as your process, then the person that you allow to read that first draft is considered your alpha reader. Now, some people would refer to these as critique partners, and that's viable. You can call it a critique partner. The reason I'm calling it an alpha reader is because usually a critique partner entails that there's some kind of partnership going on, meaning the person that's reading your first draft is giving you their first draft in return. So it would mean that you're having a writer, a fellow writer, reading your first draft because they're giving you their first draft, so they're obviously writers as well. Whereas an alpha reader doesn't necessarily have to be a fellow writer, and they're not necessarily giving you a manuscript in return. So they are, I mean, an alpha reader could be anybody. It could be your spouse, it could be your mom, or it could be your best friend, or it could be a complete stranger. That is completely up to you. Although, I mean, I would highly recommend that you choose a person that is going to be honest. Just an alpha reader, while they are not a beta reader, you still want them to be giving you honest feedback. So if you know that your mom is going to say, oh my God, I absolutely love this, even if it is complete crap, then she's kind of useless as a reader in general. So, when you're choosing an alpha reader, make sure that you're choosing someone that you know is going to read your manuscript and give you honest feedback. It doesn't mean they need to be, you know, like skilled at writing or anything. They just need to, ideally, be a person who's interested in reading the genre of book that you're writing. So if you're writing an epic fantasy, then you're going to want an alpha reader that likes to read epic fantasy, or any other, you know, or the other genres. So for me, I write paranormal romance, so I'm going to want an alpha reader who enjoys reading paranormal romance. And with paranormal romance, there are a lot of niches, so usually you want to kind of narrow that down to an alpha reader who's interested in your particular niche, ideally. Okay, so what does an alpha reader do? An alpha reader basically takes your manuscript or your chapter, if you're sending it to them on a chapter by chapter basis, reads it, and then tells you what they honestly thought of it. And lets you know if they, like, very basic questions, which is basically, you know, did they like it? Did they not like it? Was it interesting enough to hold their attention? Were there, you know, any parts in the chapter that they felt were unnecessary? Did they have any favorite parts of the chapter? You know, so nothing like super detailed. Like, you're not looking for someone that's picking out plot holes. I mean, if they do end up catching them, that is always a plus, but you're really using your alpha reader to just kind of gauge whether or not your pacing is good, so your story is not lagging, making sure that they're not getting confused where things are moving too quickly and they're getting lost, like they're not able to keep up with how fast you're progressing. And a lot of times they'll also be able to let you know if you need to describe something more, or when something doesn't make sense, or whether or not something was kind of fluff, where it, like, they felt like it really wasn't necessary. So that's basically what an alpha reader does. I mean, they do a lot of the same things as a beta reader does. It's just they're getting a very raw, unedited, unrevised version of it. So that's why they're really not taking it as like a scene by scene or a line by line or anything like that. They're only looking at whether or not your story is gripping and whether or not your pacing is on track, because a lot of times you're giving your chapters as you're finishing them. So they may not necessarily catch a plot hole, that you have in chapter 3, because they haven't gotten the rest of the book yet. They haven't gotten the rest of the chapters. Whereas usually a beta reader will get your whole manuscript at the same time. So then they usually can pick out plot holes and things of that nature a lot easier. Okay, so next is, do you need one? And there's really no hard and fast answer, but I'm going to go with, if you want to write professionally, as in you want to eventually publish your writing, then I'm going to say yes. Yes, you do need one. Because alpha readers and beta readers are going to give you another set of eyes, and any professional writer and any published author will tell you that is absolutely crucial. It is not optional. It's mandatory. So when your goal is to publish, you really should try and go through as many different sets of eyes as you can in groups. So you're going to want at least an alpha reader. Like just an alpha reader is there just to kind of keep you on track and let you know if you're slowing down too much, if you're going too fast. They can kind of, especially if you're a person who underwrites, then they can help you kind of fill in the areas that you're going to need to expand on during your revisions. And if you're an overwriter, they're going to really help you narrow down those sections of fluff that you need to edit out in revisions. Okay, and finally, would you be mine? And this only goes to those of you who happen to read paranormal romance, because, as I said earlier, you really want alpha readers who read and are interested in your genre. So I write paranormal romance, and I am actually looking for a few alpha readers for my third book, which is Kiss of the Arctic. It is the third book in my White Moon Warrior series, and this series can be read as standalones. I mean, because it's a series, they're always best read as a series, but you can read it as a standalone, and that's actually one of the reasons why I'm doing a call out for alpha readers, because I actually do want some alpha readers and beta readers who haven't read the first two books, because I want to make sure that this book really can be read as a standalone, and that everything is explained enough that they're not getting lost having not read the first two books. Now, if you have read the first two books, that's absolutely fine, because like I said, I want a mix of people who have read it and people who have not read it, because you know, I don't want to be contradicting myself either. So both would be helpful for me, only because I'm writing a series that my goal is to have each book be able to be read as a standalone. So if you'd be interested in being my alpha reader, please comment below, or you can always email me at authornicolewolf@gmail.com. Or you can always reach out to me through any of my social media outlets. All the links for my social media is below, so feel free to reach out to me there if you're interested. And I'm gonna hope that I hear from some of you soon. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. Bye.